Bosses start somewhere. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to episode 3 of Bosses Start Somewhere season 2. It's your girl Reilly, Brooke, Stith, and
Sholanty Taylor. We're back at it again. What's up, y'all?
Yes, we are. And today we are talking about nothing but boss moves, highlighting specifically the history that was made this year at the 90th Annual Academy Awards. So, Sho, let's get into it.
Okay, so what was your favorite part?
So, the Oscars.
There were so many boss moves.
I know. Well, the queen of all queens, Lupita Nyong'o, dressed in full vibranium by Versace, as she stated, on social media. I was like, I don't know. I love her. I mean, honestly, shout out to Lupita. I really think she's
holding it down.
Yeah. She's someone that just embodies confidence on a level that's so effortless that so many of us aspire to have.
It's real.
Yeah, it's super real. It is. I just thought she was beautiful.
I'm really glad that Hollywood wasn't able to taint that.
You are 100% about that one.
All right, who else you got?
Jordan Peele.
What did you think? I knew it had to come.
I know.
If it didn't come, it was going to be 1992 all over again if we didn't win something for Get Out.
It's true, but I'm just so glad that he won for Best Original Screenplay. That is a massive accomplishment. Only because what does it mean to win Best Original Screenplay? That means that he won for his original writing. His film was not adapted from a previously published work like a novel or a stage play. And I'm so proud of him. That's so hard to do.
Yeah, that was definitely, it's the first movie I said after seeing that movie, because I actually bought the film last year when it came out, but I was like, is this the first film where the black guy actually lives all the way till the end? We are making progress, people.
History on all levels, honestly. You're right. I thought it was, I don't know, I loved it. I thought the writing was amazing.
It was great.
I loved his speech.
Getting into the Oscars this year was a beautiful thing to witness.
It was. And honestly, his speech was, he and Frances McDormand, those speeches were my personal favorites. Because he highlighted the struggle. And I think a lot of us needed to hear that. We needed to hear it took him 20 years. We needed to hear that he wrote several different endings and none of them worked. It's a process of patience and perseverance. And that's the only reason why he was standing on that stage accepting that Oscar. And I'm so proud.
Right.
As well as Frances. I mean, she never states her political opinion. And when she had all of the women stand up, and support us,
beautiful.
Yeah, telling us, don't hit us at the after party, like make appointments. I loved it. Because now it's like finally we're being taken seriously. And it feels really good to be a part of history and culture in that way.
Oh, we definitely are. And I love that Jimmy Kimmel was able to bring like the humor behind what's actually happening to light and allowed it to be something that we can all laugh about. He's just like, hey, look, there's more black people at the Oscars this year. We're doing good. A lot better than last year. You know what I mean? Like before, because last year the hashtag was Oscars so white. And, now it's kind of like everyone's talking about these black movements. Like black people are really like being embraced now. And it's a beautiful thing to witness for the 90th Oscar,
Absolutely. So wait, what was your favorite part of the Oscars?
And it wasn't specifically someone's speech or their it wasn't someone speaking that was present at the Oscar or receiving an award this year. It was based on the documentary Life Itself. The documentary Life Itself is based on Roger Ebert. He's, for those of you who don't know, Roger Ebert is a movie critic that has been around for a very long time. Unfortunately, he passed away in April of 2013 due to cancer. But in the documentary, they took some of his words that he said just as a critic and, sharing expressions of life. And here's the quote I want to share with you guys. And then we can just go back and forth on what you think about it. So once again, it's from the documentary called Life Itself. And the quote says, "We are all born with a certain package. We are who we are. Where we were born, who we were born as, how we were raised. We're kind of stuck inside that person. And the purpose of civilization and growth is to be able to reach out and empathize a little bit with other people. And for me, the movies are like a machine that generates empathy. It lets you understand a little bit more about different hopes, aspirations, dreams, and fears. It helps us to identify with the people who are sharing this journey with us."
Beautiful.
That's so beautiful. I mean, like, that is the paragon of what being an actor is. If that is not what moves you to say, you know what, this is why I want to do this, this is why I do this, then you do not fully understand the purpose.
And it's not sustainable.
Right.
You know, I mean, I can't remember her name. Emily Fletcher. She talks about, I found her on YouTube. I was looking for some inspiration and some meditation techniques for some pre-audition prep. And I just ran across this woman on YouTube. And she talks about how she wished when she lived in Los Angeles, working as an actor, that she understood the power of creating for the sake of creating. And I think that's what you're talking about life and what films do to us and culture.
What they mean. What's the purpose?
And how they make us feel, how they inspire us, how they give us hope.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it reminded me of that.
Just that line, the purpose of civilization and growth is to be able to reach out and empathize a little bit with other people. And for me, the movies are like a machine that generates empathy. We understand, I mean, for a young girl growing up in Brooklyn who's wasn't able to see and experience anything outside of my city until I started acting and performing professionally, I had no idea what it's like for a young girl growing up in Iowa, someone else on a completely like different continent, you know. These kids in Asia, these kids in India, what they're experiencing, what it's like for a girl to not be able to receive a fair education just because she's a female. You know, like these are things that because actors are able to portray and movies and creatives and dreamers are able to develop these stories and put them on a screen, we're able to empathize with these people. And that is the point of being human.
It is.
That's the point. So that you can understand where somebody else is coming from, even though they come from a completely different walk of life.
Right.
That's the purpose of us being able to be actors. We want to make sure that we're able to understand somebody else's perspective, someone else that comes from a completely different walk of life. We're able to empathize with them and say, you know what, hey, I may not have shared these exact same experiences, but I'm here. I feel you, you know?
So true. And that's also a metaphor of life. We go through so many ups and downs, and life is a journey. I love this quote that I keep on the wallpaper of my phone. It's hard work, persistence, late nights, rejection, sacrifices, discipline, criticism, doubts, failure, risks, and they're all underwater. And then on top is an island upon itself that says success.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And it's inspiring because I think we forget what it takes to be successful, to understand life, to empathize with others and understand their journey and how they grow and do things.
Right.
And I love that you brought up the documentary category because we talk about all the motion pictures and we always talk about, you know, just
the supporting actors.
Right. It's nice to, you know, highlight a documentary. But back to the Oscars. Did you know that Jordan Peele, did you know he dropped out of Sarah Lawrence to do comedy?
Jordan Peele did that?
Yeah, I was reading that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he dropped out of college to focus on comedy and directing.
Well, look, it paid off, right?
It did. That's why bosses start somewhere. You never know.
Bill Gates can do it. Why not?
It's true. And speaking of which, I would love to go into what it takes to manifest your dreams and become that image you see in the mirror. Because I think a lot of us see the end, but then we also look at ourselves and we see the reality of where we are. So we're conflicted between where we want to be versus where we are. And the lines of how to get there really get blurred, you know?
Right.
And it's inspiring to hear the journey of people like a Bill Gates, as you mentioned, or a Jordan Peele dropping out of school or taking 20 years to write a movie. It's like...
You had something.
Right.
A gift that was given to you, whether it be Microsoft or it be just a gift of writing.
Right.
You know? Your focus and your purpose and your vision is focused on that. That way, everything that you do from the moment you wake up, you're already doing what, as Malcolm Gladwell says, putting in your 10,000 hours into your artistry, into what you're good at. And I think we get too caught up in looking and worried about the blurred lines. If you're working, if you spend every day of your life working towards completing those 10,000 hours or working towards that goal, that thing that you're great at. There's no way that you're not just going to end up there, you know?
I also want to highlight, going off of that, a friend of mine says to me all the time, great things come with time. And I encourage creatives that are listening in to be patient, but also defend your art and stand strong and believe wholeheartedly in the journey and in the process, but also don't allow people to tell you too much about who you are, because it's up to you to be able to validate whether or not it's true.
And you know what? I'm going to say that that's a skill that they don't really teach that.
They don't teach it.
In higher education, you are not taught to stick towards your dreams. You are taught to study, have this major, complete all of these classes, make sure you get straight A's, and you get that 4.0, and you should, boom, automatically become this top lawyer, this neurosurgeon. And that's not actually how it works. It is your job, aside from putting in the level of education into behind the craft, the thing that you know that you're good at, to say, all right, you know what? Every day, here's what I'm also going to do. In addition to reading up on it, in addition to, receiving a proper education on how to actually operate on someone, you do your research on your own, and and that's another way of calling it towards you.
And talk about empathizing. You need life experience to make that talent or that thing that you want to come to fruition
relatable,
have purpose too.
Right.
Because it's like, I can't just do music or be an actor because I want to be famous. That's not sustainable. It has to feed me. It has to feed someone else. It has to fuel someone or myself. Otherwise,
what's the point?
Well, as Emily Fletcher says, you are relying on external validation.
Right.
And that's not sustainable as a creative person.
Right.
And I'm learning that for myself, just in terms of making sure that I'm patient in the process and that I'm gentle with myself in the process. Because as a songwriter, as an actor, as any type of creator or performer, you experience different things in the process. And some of those things might not be perfect, and some of them might work.
And you know what? This just goes back to the Oscars.
Yeah.
To everyone shouting out the dreamers and saying, dreamers, we stand with you.
Yes.
I come from a family of immigrants. Lupita Nyong'o said that she's an immigrant. That's what America's about.
Exactly.
That's what the Oscars is about.
Yeah.
Dreamers who are dedicated, that said, I'm going to make this American dream, this American way of thinking, that if I work hard enough at something, I can be successful at it, And working hard at it doesn't just mean, hey, I'm only able to stick my nose in a book and get a 4.0. Some people aren't even able to accomplish that,
Yeah.
And they're still just successful. So I say that to say, dreamers, if you're listening, we're dreamers. Everyone that's been interviewed on this show, they are, if not they have been dreamers at some point, and stick to it. Like Reilly said, be patient. Bosses start somewhere.
Literally.
In dreamers land.
No, but literally. I couldn't have said it any better, but we are going to be having more of this talk. I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, but Sho and I are going to be having these types of conversations about the things that we're interested in each week. So stay tuned.
And we'd also like for you guys to share your inspirations with us.
Please.
If you know somebody that's making some boss moves and you think that it should be highlighted, please submit it for discussion. We're totally into just sharing ideas and sharing stories of people that are making boss moves.
Exactly. So thank you guys again for tuning in to Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl, Reilly, Brooke, Stith.
And Sholanty Taylor.
Stay bossy.